If you wanna find me, yeah, I'm in the front row. Got my 2 tickets on me, I'm in the front row. It's the best place to be, yeah, I'm in the front row. Best place to be, yeah. If you wanna find me, Joe, I'm in the front row. Got my 2 tickets on me, I'm in the front row. It's the best place.
What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the In the Front Row YouTube channel. We are finally back. It's been a few weeks, but we are here for another video, and I am so glad to be having Shereen joining me via Zoom. We are still quarantining and social distancing, especially with the recent coronavirus spike lately, so we are still in our homes, but we are glad to make another video for you. Shereen, how are you doing?
Well, the bars just closed again in Los Angeles County, but, you know, I didn't go to the bars, so it didn't really matter. We have a full wine selection here at home and a full bar.
Me either. I brought the party to me. I have alcohol here. That is fine enough with me. I did not go to the bar either. I know a few friends that did, but they said it also wasn't like you had to really stay separated and just wear your mask and stay at a table. It was more of like being in a restaurant.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's not the second wave; it's the first wave spiking.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, this whole mask thing with all the people coming out and throwing crap in the grocery store and like I don't know. These times you cannot get away with being a racist these days, and people are quick to go find out who you are and what your address is and who you work for. And but people can't help themselves these days. And you and I were just talking at length about one specific woman who the Fox News channel.
Yeah. So Laura Ingraham, Fox News anchor, has been
superstar LeBron James.
Sorry, I jumped the gun on her.
We will show you guys that segment in a minute, but I want to introduce it for us. Fox News correspondent or anchor Laura Ingraham has been under the fire in this quarantine due to her recent comments about Drew Brees and protecting Drew Brees after he said that he does not support anyone kneeling for the flag. Ingraham said that he has kind of a respect to his own opinion and he's a human being and he has a right. But this comes after, I believe a few years ago, that she made a comment about
a week prior. Yes.
Yeah, she made a comment about Kevin Durant and specifically at LeBron James, saying they are athletes, and basically she said nobody voted for you, so just shut up and dribble. And we were talking about this at length before, and we want to get into this, especially with everything going on in the country right now. I want to give you her exact quote before we react, just so you guys that are listening have the exact words. Ingraham responded saying that, quote, "It's always unwise to seek political advice from someone who gets paid $100 million a year to bounce a ball. Keep the political comments to yourself. Shut up and dribble," which made those 4 words made national headlines. So Shereen, I want your reaction to kind of her difference of opinion between LeBron James and Drew Brees.
Are you ready? Are you ready for this?
I am ready for you to go
in. Laura, you called it a dumb jock alert. You sounded or are a racist. I'm just saying it right now. You're a racist. And you can backtrack it with, I'm a Christian and everybody has a right to speak, I guess, except for dumb jocks like LeBron James. And no one voted for them, but no one voted for you either. In fact, a lot of people voted for KD and a lot of people voted for LeBron James for the All-Star game. They have millions of people all over the world who love them, and they finally have a friggin' voice. And I'm so tired of people treating athletes like they're not human beings. This is the biggest thing in my crux in my in my life, you know, as a sports broadcaster. All I do is I want to humanize athletes, because people, like, if you make a lot of money, you're not allowed to speak, except for if you're Donald Trump, I guess. Yeah. Or anybody who's white who has money, they can speak up all they want. But if you're black, no, you're not allowed to speak. You're a dumb jock if you make millions of dollars. So just shut up and dribble. I hate that shit. I hate it with a passion. And I'm glad he's gotten these. He has Patrick Mahomes. He has a laundry list. Chine, Ogamake, I want to say it right, LA Sparks, and the head of the Players Association for the WNBA. And a laundry list of people are supposed to help get out the vote. Well, we just saw what happened in, where was it? Was it Alabama, where they consolidated 200 voting places into one location. And in African American and Black and people of color places, and Jefferson County has 18 different areas. And then, so now, it's not just get out the vote, it's all this voter suppression at the last minute. And that, was it Kentucky? Was it Alabama? I don't remember. I think it was Kentucky. Wasn't it Kentucky? It was Kentucky because Mitch McConnell wants to win. And he doesn't want anybody voting. So they want to set a precedence. Anyway, we're getting into politics. But Fox News, as you know, is very right to the right. And when they got on and they said Drew Brees can say what he wants, he's, well respected. Come on, man. They're both athletes. They both make a lot of money. And it was just plain as day. She never apologized. She just tried to say, she came back, right? Dylan, she came back and she said, we're all equal and we should listen to each other, I guess, except for Black athletes. We shouldn't listen to them. Anyway, you could tell I'm very upset about it.
I do want to have some clarification here for our viewers that it was in 2018 when she made the shut up and dribble comment. She did make that. What? Yeah, a while ago, and then it came back into the news.
Oh, okay. That's
it was talking about Drew Brees, and about Drew Brees, she said he's allowed to have his view about what kneeling in the flag means to him. He's a person. This is beyond football. But when LeBron James spoke out about it, she went after LeBron James, telling him to shut up and dribble. So that was a few years ago. Then she came back on the air. I kind of want to give you the wave here. She came back on the air and I guess justified or wanted to express her thoughts about why she defended Drew Brees. She said, I'll just read part of it to you. She said, my defense. Well, she started with, we noted that Brees also cited his deep Christian faith, which of course teaches that everyone should be treated equally, and we noted his generous contributions to charity. My defense of Brees led to an online chorus of people comparing those comments to previous comments I had made to LeBron James. At that time, James said that Trump, quote, really doesn't give an F about the people, end quote. She went on to say, well, without dwelling on the nuance between the two instances, let me be very clear about what I believe. We are all children of God, regardless of our racial or political differences, and therefore must be treated equally. Every American has the God-given right to speak his mind on any issue. And she went on to say emotions are hot right now, and most people are looking for reconciliation. I can't speak, sorry. So she did address the comments about LeBron James, but to me, and I don't know if you agree with me, Shereen, she didn't apologize to him. She did not once say, I'm sorry, LeBron James, for saying this when you were speaking out against or it's not even political issue, it's a human rights issue. When she told him to shut up and dribble, I should correct myself there. She basically just said, oh, now that Drew Brees came out and said something that she agrees with, because they're both, I'm assuming they're both way to the right. She works for Fox News. She basically came out and said, oh, Drew Brees can have his opinion because I agree with him saying, or well, when he said it at first, I agree with him saying that people should not kneel for the flag. And I guess since she agreed with that opinion, then she was like, oh, he's a person. He can say what he wants. This is beyond football. But then when LeBron James comes back or a few years ago and says stuff, she wasn't happy because I guess she didn't agree with what he was saying, which obviously makes her a little racist to begin with.
Hypocritical.
Yeah, she also should have straight up apologized to LeBron James. She basically put it as, oh, everyone is equal. Everyone, despite their racial or political beliefs, should be treated equal. She never personally said, oh, I'm sorry, LeBron James, for saying those comments. I should have not said those comments, and I should have done better. Because then you have people that are watching Fox News being like, oh, maybe we actually can take accountability for our actions, and we can, say we made mistakes in the past and are willing to move forward. In my opinion, she has to do better. And like you said, no one voted for her either. She is a political commentator, but she's gonna lose her audience, and she knows it. Her audience. That's why she salvaged, I guess, what she could. But in my opinion, she should have came out, and the first thing she should have said is, I understand what I see the comments resurfacing about comments I made 2 years ago about LeBron James. And she should have been like, I understand why it was hypocritical, and I apologize for those comments. To me, she never said that. She was way too general about it.
She didn't want to get a call from the president. That's all I have to say about that. Yeah, I got that wrong, but I know it came out last week. So it came out on Twitter last week, and everybody started regurgitating it. But I got upset both times. I got upset in 2016.
I can see why you did, because it did resurface into the news that's why it resurfaced into the news. It showed her double standard. A lot of athletes across multiple sports definitely tweeted about it and was like, hey, you're kind of being hypocritical here towards issues. If you're allowing one athlete to speak, you should allow all athletes to speak, no matter what they're speaking.
Well, I mean, she was forced to say something, right? Yeah. She was forced to say something.
The apology wasn't an accountability thing.
There was no apology there. There was not one apology there. It was a statement that she's Christian and she has Christian values. You don't have Christian values if you talk about people the way she talks about people. I am so tired of this Christian value stuff and thinking that only white people are Christian. There's plenty of Christian black people out there.
Yeah. And so I do want to add as well some facts in here. LeBron James, when she did say the fact about Drew Brees the first time around, she said that Drew Brees he's not allowed to have an opinion. LeBron James did quote tweet a Complex Sports tweet when they resurfaced that comment from her back in 2018, saying, if you still haven't figured out why the protesting is going on, why we aren't acting as if we are, because we are simply effing tired of this treatment right here. Can we break it down for you any simpler than this right here? And to my people, don't worry, I won't stop until I see. He went on to say, I don't see the other tweet, but that's part of what he said. He did also go on to say, don't worry, I won't stop until I see change. He did go on to also elaborate in that tweet. I believe there was a second tweet, but I don't have it right now.
I want to be fair. Yeah. I was really mad at Drew Brees as well. I mean, he's nowhere without all the athletes that he works with.
Of course, yeah.
So, and I mentioned that on other shows, but I feel like he's listening. He's listening.
Yeah.
And the fact that now he's downloading rap music, the clean version of rap music. I forgot who put that out, but it was either Mark Stein or somebody put that out that he was downloading. I thought, okay, he's listening. He is listening, and I'm giving him another shot, and he is a good role model right now for a lot of people, but there's even more out there. There's a lot of athletes that are white that have come out and said things without ever having to say or backtrack or apologize. And I can't think of their names right now, but I've seen enough videos of it. So I really hope that his get out the vote works. But this closing of polling sites the night before a vote, no, that doesn't do it for me.
No, there's definitely voter suppression going on in this country. And I do want to say Drew Brees did apologize to his teammates. He did after he made the flag comment. He also wrote a letter to President Trump on the viewpoint of kneeling during the national anthem. And I've given you my opinion on that before, where back to when Colin Kaepernick first started kneeling during the national anthem. I don't think he did anything wrong. I don't think I was a little upset when Drew Brees first initially made the comments. I'm not going to lie. I was like, well, you can't, like you said, you can't do that. You can't, I understand you have the right to your own opinion, but there's nothing wrong with somebody protesting. There's nothing wrong with someone peacefully protesting. And I was upset at Drew Brees when he first made those comments. I'm glad he did take accountability and actually did become educated, because if you think a lot during this time, people don't take the time to educate themselves, and they don't.
Yeah, on TikTok, I saw a woman veteran, who was talking about this subject, and she said, "When I fought for the flag, I fought for liberty and justice for all. That's what I fought for. I didn't fight for President Trump. I didn't fight for just the Republicans. I didn't fight for just white people. And this has got to stop. We have got to have equality."
Yeah, and it's also when people talk about the disrespecting of the flag, in my opinion, or how they're kneeling. I personally agree with the Colin Kaepernick side, but also, and I believe he did nothing wrong, like I've said multiple times, But I also, in my opinion, people are like, he could have done the kneel during a different time. I've talked to people and they've said that. But when did you want him to do the kneel where people would notice? Like, he did the kneel during the national anthem so people would notice that he was peacefully protesting. If he went out and kneeled during halftime, nobody would even be talking about it, or nobody would have noticed it. He did it during that time because he wanted people to notice and he wanted to peacefully protest. And obviously, a lot of people have changed their viewpoint on that, but it is.
There's no rule that says that you have to stand. And you know, the biggest, funniest thing is that they say a lot of people, you know, when the national anthem's going on, they're in line for their beers.
Mm-hmm.
They're not standing there with their hat off and their hand on their chest. And I want to tell you something. I'm tired of people saying if you're not with the president, you're not a patriot. And I know we're getting political here.
Yeah.
But I'm a patriot, and I cry when I hear the national anthem at sporting events. I do, because it means a lot to me. I'm a soldier's angel. I have sent many people that were in a war like Afghanistan. I would get one of them assigned to me, and me and my office, we would send bags and candy and all kinds of stuff, and they loved it, and they send us pictures back of, you know, them ripping the boxes open when they got packages. And I've always supported the military because they're doing it so I don't have to, but they're fighting for democracy, freedom, and our Constitution. Mm-hmm. And that's how I feel. And I have a little message for President Trump with all this kneeling shit. We are going to see kneeling, beautiful kneeling like no one's ever seen before. We are going to see women kneeling and black people kneeling and white people kneeling and people of all races kneeling. We're going to see people standing and kneeling. It's just, you know, when you say you don't want kneeling, you're going to see a lot of beautiful, magnificent, terrific kneeling. So I'm looking forward to it, actually.
In my opinion, I do want to say, make this clear. I think earlier I don't think it's disrespecting the flag. I think it's a peaceful protest, and I think he did nothing wrong. I agree with you moving forward. If I was an athlete, I would kneel right next to him. I don't know about you, but I definitely would.
Yeah, well, you've been out there. You've been doing your thing. We've been doing our thing with our show, and I've been doing my thing at work, and it's been well received. And, you know, what can I say?
Yeah, anyone that wants to come on our show is welcome to come on our show to speak about any experience. And I think a conversation in education is really how I think you have to move forward. Obviously, there's voting, there's a lot more to moving forward, but people have to start educating themselves and not just believing what our president says.
We're on the same page. Not everybody is, and that's fine. You know, I have to tell you, I spent the last week talking to somebody who used to be a Democrat, is a veteran, and is a Trump supporter. And we have one thing in common. We love the Arizona Wildcats. And so we've tried very hard to not hate each other. Like, it has been a week of DMing each other on Twitter to like try to enlighten the other side. And we just haven't succeeded. Neither one of us have succeeded. So I basically said, look, you know, both sides are listening to the people they want to listen to. It's very hard, you know, like there's certain fears from one side and other fears from another, but it's all fear-based. The one thing I like is a candidate that comes out and says it's about love, it's about being together, it's about, you know, I miss the rhetoric of Obama, whether he did stuff or he didn't do stuff. I don't want to get into the end, but when he speaks, I feel like someone cares about me. And that's what I want from the leader of the free world. That's just what I want. That's just personal. And I'm actually, you know, independent in the middle. Like, I just go for the candidate. So, but it's hard now because there isn't much sports. So now all the sports people are talking politics. And now the sports fans are like, do I want to follow her? Because she obviously is a lib. Well, no, I'm not. Like, give me a subject. I might be liberal, I might not be, you know, but people are like labeling each other. I don't want to label. Everybody's equal. Everybody has an opinion. It's very hard for me to be talking to anybody who's racist. So I had to make sure you're not a racist first, because it's very, very hard. But again, if you talk to somebody who is, but doesn't mean to be, then it's an opportunity, you know, it's an opportunity to help. And, The more you and I and our whole group can help, the better. And, just talking to Achille, and other people that have been on our show talking about this stuff, there's times they feel like breaking down. There's times that they don't want to talk. There's times they want to run away from Zoom, So it's not an easy subject. If you watch TikTok, you'll see a million different people still getting beat up, still the knees on the neck, still for no reason, It's still police coming in, like this Elijah kid who was the violinist who played violin for cats in the animal shelters, walking home, right? This has come up again. And Jay Ticker, who's, or that's the name of his show, is a good friend of mine. And he actually flew to Denver and they were playing violin. And in came the police, spraying people in the face. Like, police brutality is a problem against white people or black people, Hispanic people, everybody. It's just a problem. And so something happened in Tucson this week, like yesterday. I think there was a man who was killed by the police in Tucson. And the mayor was like, look, we need somebody like a social worker to come in and help the homeless person. Not everything deserves a gun. And that's what defund the police means. Now, I know we need law and order. I'm fine with that. And I respect police because, again, they're putting their lives on the line. But we need this accountability. We need, I've seen so many nice stories of policemen, holding a young black man who was crying because of this whole thing and kneeling, and I'm with you. And there's so much of that. There is good stuff. It's not all bad. So, a lot of times, change has to come from pain. And so there's a lot of pain right now. And I hope there's change, especially we should be listening to athletes if they want to talk. They're human just like everybody else. And we give you that platform. So we have a couple people in line. One of them is Marshall Webb, a pro basketball player. And hopefully he can come on our show and next time or whoever. We're open.
Yeah, obviously reach out to either of us or the network. It doesn't matter. We are open for that. And we do have to remember at the end of the day, it is a human rights issue. It's not a political issue.
Right.
And a lot of people, and it's partly fault or most of the fault due to our president and the comments that he makes. But at the end of the day, it's not a political issue. It's not Republicans versus Democrats. It's not that. It's literally a human rights issue that we need to fix in this country. And as a country, we need to do better educating ourselves. We need to do better at listening. We need to do better at doing our part to make sure that this human rights issue, and then we are treated with an equal, and minorities aren't scared to walk out of their home. I know you shared stories with me about how you've talked to people and they're scared to let their sons go out.
Outside of my house.
Yeah.
My friend came over.
Yeah.
And I'm driving him to the Clippers game so that we can announce at a AC Clippers game. And he wanted to get in the car so fast because he thought he would, if any police came by, they would just arrest him. He literally, this is a 40-year-old man with 2 kids and a wife who wanted to get in the car ASAP and was worried that his car being parked in front of my house might be a problem because it wasn't the nicest car. I'm like, oh God, it was, and this was like 2 years ago,
It's, at the end of the day, we do not need to have that in our country. Racial profiling needs to stop and police brutality needs to stop. And Black Lives Matter at the end of the day is not a trend. It's not something that you just want to post on social media to gain followers. It's really something that you have to want to be part of the movement, and you have to want to help in the movement even after it goes away on social media. I know I've done the best that I can in my part to either continue to sign petitions, donate, educate myself on issues. That way I am educated when I'm trying to, pass it on and maybe get the next person to help. And it's, to me, it's just baffling that people are making it into a political issue and a Trump versus non-Trump, or I should say Trump supporter.
Well, look who's doing that.
A non-Trump supporter issue. It's not that. And at the end of the day, he's making comments that he obviously should not make. And
he retweeted today a guy saying white power and said he was a great person. Like, come on, that is not helping. So we just got to ignore that stuff and keep working on it ourselves. I'm not, I enjoy NASCAR, but I'm not the hugest NASCAR fan.
Mhm.
But you know what? Most of it was because of the Confederate flags.
Yeah.
And frankly, as soon as they said no more Confederate flags, I was like, I went and got
Yeah.
myself a Bubba Wallace shirt.
Yeah, so we do want to talk about that and what happened, because that was also a big headline in the news this week, or over the past few weeks, I should say. Unfortunately, we do have to talk about the Bubba Wallace situation, and unfortunately, it's, just it's honestly it's scary and hard to talk about, but I do want to get your reaction to this. I want to read what Bubba Wallace said to you at first, and then I want to take you through the story. Bubba Wallace said when the noose was first found in his garage, I believe it was his garage, correct? I want to get that correct.
The noose was found in his garage.
Yeah. He said, today's despicable act of racism and hatred leaves me incredibly saddened and serves as a painful reminder of how much further we have to go as a society and how persistent we must be in the fight against racism. Over the last several weeks, I have been overwhelmed by the support from people across the NASCAR industry, including other drivers and team members in the garage. Together, our sport has made a commitment to driving real change and championing a community that is accepting and welcoming to everyone. Nothing's more important, and we will not be deterred by the reprehensible actions of those who seek to spread hate. As my mother told me today, they are just trying to scare you. This will not break me. I will not give in, nor I will not back down. I will continue to proudly stand for what I believe in. NASCAR did launch an investigation. At first they said it wasn't, but then they released a photo of the noose, and it actually was. It turned out to be one. A few days ago, they released the photos of it because he did have to put out another statement in between that when people were saying it was, I guess, a false report, saying it's been an emotional few days. First of all, I want to say how relieved I am that the investigation revealed that this wasn't what I feared it was. I want to thank my team, NASCAR, and the FBI for acting swiftly and treating this as a real threat. I think we'll gladly take a little embarrassment over what alternatives that could have been. Make no mistake, though some will try, this should not detract from the show of unity we had on Monday. That's when all the drivers stood behind him, and the progress we've made as a sport being more welcoming for all. But then I believe there was a New York Times article that came out and said it actually was a noose in his garage, and the photo was released. So it's been a long week and a complicated story. And I do want to make clear that Bubba Wallace never launched the investigation. I believe was never a part of the investigation. I believe it was NASCAR who did the investigation. I do want to make that clear. So I want to get your reactions to this past week and what Bubba Wallace has been through.
Okay, so Bubba, poor thing, like he's all by himself, and he's half white, half black. So like he says, he has a black side of his family and a white side of his family, and it makes him black. So he said that the head of NASCAR first of all, called him and said he had something very serious to talk about, and Bubba thought he was in trouble for something. And this was after the Confederate flags were banned from NASCAR, and so he was on edge. So he was going to go out with some of the drivers for dinner, and he was sitting in his trailer. So he said, okay. So he asked the president to come to his trailer. So he went to his trailer, and literally he said he had tears in his eyes, and he was a little bit trembling when he was telling him about this noose in his garage. Mm-hmm. And Bubba said the first thing he thought of is my family safe? That's the first thing he thought of. And then he talked to his people in the garage. There was a couple white people in his garage and a black person in his garage. And the guy said he looked at all the stalls, and they all had these ropes, but the one in Bubba's stall did look like a noose. Mm-hmm. And so he confirmed that they went and they looked at the other garages, and they all had the poles, but the one in Bubba's garage did look like a noose. And then the FBI called it a noose, but that it was already there before Bubba was there. Now, we don't know if he got assigned to that garage or what, but, the fact of the matter is you don't need a noose to pull down a garage. Somebody knew how to tie that thing. But, for my thing, the amount of support that that all of NASCAR, including the owner of his racing team, Petty said, he's in his 80s, 70s. He said, I cannot go out in public because I'm at high risk for COVID, but I'm going to go hug my driver, And mm-hmm. So that whole show of support with everybody rolling out his car and how emotional Bubba was, it was worth it. It was worth it. Now, the one thing that he did wrong was he called the people simple-minded because he assumed that it was truly a noose put in his garage to scare him, right? And you can't blame him that much because that same week, 5 different young Black Americans were hung from trees in public places.
Mm-hmm.
There's been hangings, 2 of them in California. So if I'm in tune and I know what's going on, so first you hear about hangings and they're calling them suicides, and then all of a sudden there's a noose in your garage. Come on, it's very plausible. But because most of the people that are fans of NASCAR seem to be on the right side of politics, they went at him on Twitter. Why do they call him simple-minded? He was calling the person who put the news simple-minded. Why are they taking it personally that all the fans are simple-minded? But he never retracted that, and he never apologized for that. And I think that's the one thing that people are harping on a lot. And then you see the other idiots out there saying, I'm not going to give up my Confederate flag, and calling the black people the N-word. And, there are plenty of those people. Now, if they lose those people, but they gain NBA fans, and they gain me, and they gain a whole lot of people, they may be making some money. Yeah. There may be some Bubba shirts out there, like this one. This is a nice, button down I got on here. They may, and if you go on my Twitter feed, @SportsCrazy with 2 E's, you'll find a link to buy Bubba wear. But this was something that really moved me, and I actually shed tears watching the support. So for whatever reason it happened, it was good that it happened. In my eyes, it showed solidarity. It showed that most people, if not everybody in NASCAR, believes in equality. Mm-hmm. And that was great because you don't think about that. There is a lot of and generalizations about the fans and the drivers and all that stuff. So maybe we'll see, just like we'll see more people of color playing golf after Tiger Woods. Maybe there'll be more people of color in NASCAR. Maybe they can make more money. Who knows?
It's obviously in the past it's been a predominantly white sport, and that was hopefully and with that I guess stereotype I should say, which obviously you don't want to stereotype sports or anything like that. But that's what made it so scary. And that's what made it when it was discovered and NASCAR did start investigating it. And then it made it scary when they're like, oh, that's not true. Maybe he's making something up. And people were accusing him. I saw people accusing him online of making something up when he never launched the investigation. And so he got some hate online, and then, which was unfortunate and uncalled for and unfair. And then when NASCAR, the president came out and said, they released a photo and they're like, this was real. We are glad that we saw this before something happened to him. And then that they all stood behind him was nice. I believe they posted a photo.
A great selfie.
Yeah.
They had the American flag mask on. It was a great selfie.
And I'm glad NASCAR has gone away with the Confederate flag. There's actually been a lot of changes with the Confederate flag recently, which has been great. You have NASCAR going away. The NCAA announced that
Mississippi's taking it off their flag.
Yeah, Mississippi taking off their flag after, I forget the guy's name, but he said he wouldn't play at Mississippi State. I want to look up his name because I want to give him his credit because he helped lead the movement. He said he wouldn't play until the Confederate flag was removed, and then they removed it. The NCAA also announced a few weeks ago that they wouldn't play any championship sites located that, the Confederate flag still exists or it's predominantly there and well noticed. So it's helped with
Oregon State rivalry.
Yeah.
Change the name of that.
It's
the Dixie Chicks are the Chicks now. Lady Antebellum is Lady A now. We won't talk about Lady G. That's a whole nother subject.
It helped with, I guess, moving forward in this country and realizing the Confederate flag is not a good thing. We should do away with it, which has been overdue for years. But finally, people are starting to do stuff about it. And you like to see that. You like to see people moving forward and being educated and making changes that they want to make. I mean, there's still, I believe, a few people out there protesting. There's team names that obviously across sports that people want change. That's a whole nother issue or a whole nother segment. But it's good that I'm trying to look up the guy's name. Yeah, it's good that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's good that NASCAR backed up the investigation and took it so seriously to realize that, you know, this something dangerous really could have happened. Even it might have just been a threat, but you never know. Especially like you said,
after he painted his car with Black Lives Matter and a white and black hand holding each other on the hood and all that stuff. So that's all good stuff. And you know, now we need Colin Kaepernick to be playing in the NFL. If Cam Newton can get a job with the New England Patriots, then
yes, we will talk about that. I do want to make a statement real fast. His name is Kylan Hill, the one Mississippi State player that said
nice.
that I want to give him his credit because he helped lead to the changing of that competitive flag. He said he would not play at Mississippi State until the Mississippi State flag was trained in. He was even threatened online for standing out so boldly, but I want to give him his props and what he did because that helped change. And Colin Kaepernick on that, he needs a job. You can't, if you're the NFL, you can't have your commissioner make a video and say all these words about how Black Lives Matter and they're striving for equality and then not give him a job. Actions speak louder than words at the end of the day. And Colin Kaepernick is talented enough to play in the NFL. And honestly, I know a lot of people are saying that he could be a backup. I think there's some quarterbacks out there that he is better than and still could be a starter.
Well, I mean, you know, the rookies have never played one down in the NFL, so he's got to be better than some of the rookies that were drafted.
Yeah, and so it's like he deserves to be on an NFL roster, and the NFL will receive a lot of backlash.
Well, yeah, and let me tell you, NFL, whatever team gets him, they're going to sell a hell of a lot of jerseys because the 49ers sold a lot of jerseys. And doesn't it come down to the bottom line? And to speak of that, I have to talk about this. Roger Goodell had his back against the wall because some of the interns or the social media coordinators decided to go film a bunch of players to talk about equal rights and Black Lives Matter. And then all of a sudden Goodell had to get on. And they can't fire those people. So they didn't do it with approval. So I love that story. So now he had to get on and he had I think he apologized. He basically said, you know, the NFL is about equal rights and all that stuff.
Yeah, I think he did say that. I don't want to mistake this, but I believe he never apologized or mentioned Colin Kaepernick in the video.
No, he didn't mention Colin.
Yeah.
No, he didn't.
Which
But everyone's calling for him to say they're sorry.
Yeah, which I think it goes back to the very beginning of our show when I said Laura Ingraham should have held herself accountable and said, I made a mistake to LeBron James. I think he should have been like, we as the NFL made a mistake in blackballing Colin Kaepernick and not allowing him in the league because he was willing to lead a peaceful protest during the national anthem. And moving forward, we are going to be more, what's the word? I don't want to say the wrong word.
I don't. We'll look it up.
We're gonna move forward in a more positive and realize that, you know, there's change to be made in this country. Something like that. I don't want to say the wrong word.
Yeah.
I don't want to offend anyone online. But I think the NFL has to sign him, and we'll see if he gets signed. We do want to talk about Cam Newton, speaking of NFL signings, because the news broke today that Cam Newton is no longer a free agent after spending most of his career, all of his career so far up to this point with the Carolina Panthers, even going to a Super Bowl. He reached a one-year deal with the New England Patriots.
The flashy New England Patriots.
And Shereen, before I give my opinion on it, because, you know, I've been talking about this for weeks.
Yeah.
What's your reaction to Cam Newton signing with Bill Belichick and the Patriots?
I mean, I'm happy for him because I'll tell you one thing. What I look at is, do I have fun watching the player play? You know? I have fun watching Colin Kaepernick play football. I have a lot of fun watching Cam Newton play football. And the reason is because of his dual threat. I love that. But he got him hurt. And I think the Panthers didn't protect him. And when he went and ran and tried to do whatever he could, it backlashed because he didn't have the protection he needed and he got hurt. And I think that he is flashy and he likes to get out there and be himself with his fashion. God, I would love to interview him. With his fashion and what he says, he's outspoken, and those things are frowned upon. But this is, you know, honestly, it shouldn't be. We've been talking about this the whole show. And I love the way he plays. And hopefully he has a good offensive line. And what happens, I think, is that there's going to be some games that Tom Brady does not want. Oh, wait, Tom Brady's gone, right? So is Cam Newton the starting quarterback?
Yeah.
Okay. So do you think you heard about this $1.1 million fine?
Yeah, we'll talk. Yeah.
You think Brady and Gronk knew about it and was like, we're out of here?
I don't know. They don't claim accountability in anything else. Remember when they had the Deflategate and they said they had no knowledge of it?
Yeah.
And then they had the Spygate with the Jets. They've had their share of scandals over the years. So honestly, I think they would deny it. But
I like it. I think it's going to be fun. People are going to tune in for that.
Yeah. So I have been saying this for weeks. You can go back on our previous shows that Cam Newton is going to join New England. I've had a gut feeling for a long time now because, first of all, where else? I mean, before the whole Tampa Bay situation, I even said it when Tom Brady departed, because I had a feeling that Tom Brady wasn't going to stay in New England. And then when the news broke that he wasn't going to stay in New England, him and Gronk were both going to Tampa.
I knew they'd be together, but I thought they were going to the Chargers. They went to the Patriots.
Well, no, I'm not saying I was predicting them to go to Tampa Bay. I'm not taking credit for that. I'm just saying, especially when Tom Brady moved on, I think it made it more abundantly clear that Cam Newton was going to go to New England because Bill Belichick, at the end of the day, knows what he's doing. He is if not one of the best head coach and GM of all time. He probably was sitting there. He didn't want to make a move really before the draft because you kind of want to stay secret. You kind of want to not show your cards right away so then other teams can't predict on what you're doing. But it's his best fit. I couldn't see him going anywhere else, especially when the Chargers announced that they were going to stick with Tyrod Taylor and then they draft Justin Herbert. You really wouldn't see him going there. And he knows what he's doing. He wants a quarterback that he can sign for a year. And the deal, I believe it's a modest contract. I don't believe it's a high-value contract. I believe it's basically or mostly incentives. It's not all an incentive-based deal. So you have somebody who you can still develop the quarterbacks that are on the roster. I believe Jarrett Stidham is the quarterback they're trying to develop right now for the future. And so you kind of get Cam Newton on like a year loan. It's like soccer when they loan players. Like you kind of get Cam Newton on a year loan. You don't have to train or worry about developing Stidham. If Cam Newton gets hurt, you can always put him in because that's obviously the concern with Cam Newton is over the past few years he's had a lot of injuries and a lot of injury concern. And so you kind of plug him into the system that you've built already. You load him up with a few more weapons. I don't recall their draft, and I don't remember.
Well, I know one thing. J.J. Taylor is going to be a running back. He's a wildcat.
Yeah, so you load them up with because their offense was dreadful last year. Their defense was good, but their offense obviously was. But now you're bringing Cam Newton, who's a mobile threat. He can help with your running game. He can help with your passing game. He's proven to be good at both. He's led a team in Carolina to the Super Bowl when, frankly, Carolina, besides Greg Olsen, they haven't had a fair share of elite receivers in Cam Newton's tenure.
I agree.
And Greg Olsen's a tight end, but I'm just saying, I guess receiving options. And then, obviously, they brought in Christian McCaffrey over the past few years, and he's a running back. But wide receiver-wise, Cam Newton has not had a lot to go to, and he's still led his team to the playoffs. He still led his team to the Super Bowl. And you take him on a loan for a year, and now everyone's like, the Patriots, they've won the division so many years in a row. Everyone was like, the Patriots aren't going to win. Their streak might be snapped of winning the division. Like Buffalo might come up with Josh Allen. They were close last year. The Jets are still developing Sam Darnold. And the Dolphins made a big splashes in free agency. The Patriots are going to win the division again. I told you they would win more games than the Buccaneers will. And I think them signing Cam Newton solidifies that. And you'll see the Patriots in the playoffs. I know a lot of people don't want to see it. A lot of people hate on the Patriots, but you got to respect them, and you will see.
You are giddy, Dylan. You are giddy. But you're a Ravens fan.
Yeah, but I'm not. Well, I still think that I'm going to root for the Ravens. I don't like the Patriots. I'm not saying. Okay. I'm saying I'm probably one of those people that more. I wouldn't say hate on them, but it was like, they've been here every year. Like, can't we see a new team? And especially the close battles they've had with Baltimore over the years have kind of made me hate the Patriots even more, like the Billy Condiff missed field goal, But the Ravens have been one of the rare teams to be able to go into New England and win during the playoffs. But the close battles have made me, not a fan. I'm not saying I'm a fan. I'm saying as an analyst.
You have respect for them.
Yeah, and as an analyst and as somebody – I guess taking it from a neutral perspective, I think you will see the Patriots in the playoffs. Of course, I'm rooting for the Ravens, and I think the Ravens will be in the playoffs. I ain't worried about
Okay. On that high note.
But wow, we have covered a lot over this show. Do you have any final thoughts to kind of wrap our show up, Shereen?
Well, the NBA is going to be playing again. There are some players opting out, so I'd like to see some players get some opportunities here, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then the big discussion is who's going to take Avery Bradley's spot. But I've seen quite a few players say they're opting out of playing in Orlando, and that's starting, you know, in a week or two.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I'd like to see, well, the New York Knicks let go of one of our Wildcats, Alonzo Trier. So we don't know where he's going to pop up, but, you know, he has a pretty good agent, so he could pop up somewhere coming up here. But, you know, it's going to give some opportunity for some younger players, I think, to join teams. There's always going to be an asterisk if the Lakers win a championship or whoever wins. There's going to be a little asterisk there. But I'm still looking for what I really want to hear. They better not turn down the volume because I want to hear those players yak at each other and talk shit. And I want to hear them talk shit to the refs. And I want to hear what the coaches say. I cannot wait for that. Oh, my God. Let's hope that they don't turn down the volume.
No, I hope not either. Because it's going to be like a premier pass for big basketball fans because usually you don't get to hear it because of all the fan noise. Like, if you really appreciate the players and you want to hear what they say and, like, the coaches and the aspects of the game, it's going to be great to hear. I want to hear what they have to say.
I'm excited.
Like, and they'll probably, I'm assuming if the players know that they're going to be heard on TV, they'll probably amp up a little bit for the cameras too.
Yeah, or they'll just whisper the F word because we know a lot of Lakers use the F word.
Yeah. No, but they'll probably
zoom in on their face and you can just see them say it like it's been happening for decades.
No, but they'll probably amp up for the cameras and want to get like their moment.
Yeah.
Want to put on a little show. A lot of sports are returning. The NHL is returning. I believe they're going straight to the playoffs. The MLB has agreed to a 60-game season, which is, I think, great because I think the baseball season is too long anyway.
And then you could catch NASCAR. There's no fans in the stands.
Yeah. Like sports, I believe a lot of them are returning at the end of July, which we only have about a month to go. So we're almost there to getting sports back again. Hey, there was just a horse race. The Belmont just ran. That's
right. And we can't wait to see the Rams in the new stadium and the Chargers. So it should be fun.
And I can't wait to see the Ravens play. It's going to be.
Wait till they come. They're going to come twice.
Do you think they'll have fans in the stands come college football and NFL season?
The NCAA is really like the University of Arizona was going to open up. The president was going to open up. He had all these plans on what he was going to do to keep everybody safe and all this stuff. And he has backtracked because of the spike in Arizona. So, I mean, I don't know if football and basketball are going to be both starting in January, but I hope that I wouldn't mind. They don't play in the same place. Like, I wouldn't mind their basketball and football. One day's basketball, one day's – oh, my God. It would be like it would be wonderful. Like, I don't care. Let's put football and basketball in the same season. I really don't care.
I just want to see it all.
I just want to see it all. Every day, sports.
Yeah, like
I'm dying.
We've been without –
and my whole Twitter feed is politics, so I have to get back to sports.
We've been without live sports for so long. It just like we need like live playoffs to come back.
Yeah.
I need, even though you'll never like you said, the asterisk might be there, and like you'll never truly give the champion of each league.
Do we care though?
No. Hockey's actually doing a very interesting format, so I'm glad to see that. And
the big deal is they're talking about putting whatever they want on the back of their jerseys.
Oh, I did see that.
Oh, that's gonna be cool. So when we hear more about that, we'll tell you guys more about that.
Yeah, I did see something about that. And like I said, baseball, I believe it's going to be a great season because 60 games for baseball is not a lot. They're really going to have to bring – because if you think in baseball –
should be 60 games. Why is it so damn long?
Okay, if you think in baseball, most teams either lose 100 games or they win near 100 games, right? Somewhere in between. Like, that's what – it usually comes down to 40 or 50 games in baseball, really, who makes the playoffs. And then, like, you know, it's kind of a long season. But it's like crunch time. You can't start slow. Like, you got to start – from the beginning. Maybe a team that isn't as talented or not projected to do as well might be like a Cinderella because it's such a short season.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm excited. I'd rather have a short baseball season. Honestly.
Yeah, something and nothing because baseball is one of my favorite sports. I think I've said that multiple times on this platform, and I cannot wait for baseball to come back. It's like, I guess football is now taken over as the American sport, but it used to be like the American sport. Like everyone loves baseball.
Yeah.
And it's finally coming back, and hopefully when they let the fans. Well, where are they playing baseball again? What's the location?
I have multiple locations from what I heard.
Yeah. So hopefully one day, I'd probably not this season unless the playoffs maybe happen. One day we'll get to Dodger Stadium, but that's probably.
No, we're gonna go. Just put it in your head. We're gonna go.
Yeah.
You gotta have a Dodger dog.
And I will try the Dodger dog for you.
Not the best. Well, I'm not a fan, but that's okay.
I'm not a Dodgers fan.
Garlic fries. And the thing I like is the garlic fries and the chocolate malt. Those two things. And the soft serve ice cream and the Dodger hat. Yeah. But they have to step up their food because I've seen other stadiums that have much better food than Dodger Stadium. Dodger Stadium food sucks in my eyes. And you spend like $100 and you get 2 fries and 4 hot dogs and a beer. You know?
I am glad Fredo was not on the broadcast. He would be going off right now. But I told you guys we'll vlog it. You know, YouTube in LA has a big like vlog kind of, community. We will vlog on this channel.
Okay.
Retrying the Dodger dog. They do need to step up their food game though. If you ever go to Camden Yards, I don't know if you've been, but if you ever go to Camden Yards, you have to get their Chesapeake waffle fries. I believe they're called. It's fries.
Fun.
It's fries with crab dip on them. It is the best baseball food out there. I don't even need to go to every baseball stadium to tell you.
Well, that's another high note. So I guess it's time to sign off.
Yeah, we are going to wrap things up here on our In the Front Row YouTube channel. But guys, we are so glad that we got to rant, and we are so glad that you guys got to join us. Let us know what you think below in the comments. We will see you soon. Like we said, we have a few scheduled interviews coming up, so that is going to be exciting. Shereen, thanks for joining me once again.
Dylan, it's always fun.
Josh and Fredo should be back soon. Go ahead and follow us on all social media, and go ahead and subscribe. I'm Dylan, guys. We are signing off. We'll see you next time.